I've got so much to give.
Easy now, fuzzy little man Peach. You ever drunk Baileys from a shoe?
What?
You wanna come to a club where people wee on each other?
No.
I'm gonna hurt you.
Immediate and complete reports of local blood and gut.
What happened was true. The most bizarre and brutal series of crimes
This video is a parody inspired by the furious typing of myself, the creepy pasta pedophile Christopher H. Wolf, who via plagiarism of mostly Goosebumps and the bullying of children managed to gain virtually no income from it and be known only as the pedophile elder abuser and the general waste of space I am.
Some of you may have heard that the Disney Corporation is responsible for at least one real, quote-unquote live ghost town. But this isn't that story. This is a story about how one lone, balding man went on a quest to what he thought was Epstein's Island, but ended up at Disney instead and was doomed to face the horrors of his own delusions. Disney built the Treasure Island Resort in Baker's Bay in the Bahamas. It didn't start as a ghost town. That was the original text for this, clearly filler for this one-off masterpiece. But it should be noted that Disney's cruise ships would actually stop at the resort and leave tourists there to relax in luxury. Whoa. Disney blew $30 million on this place. Yes, $30 million.
No, I sincerely doubt those reasons were legitimate. Why don't I buy the official story? As I'm a fat fag Chris Wolf, world-renowned self-fluffer, and the type of guy who never peaked, but claimed he did in high school at the beachside city of Emerald Isle in North Carolina, coincidentally inserting near my mother's trailer park in Rocky Point. Disney began construction of Mowgli's Palace in the late 1990s. I'd better remember the story, The Jungle Book. But none of that pairs up to my favorite story, Lolicunny Adventure 4. Mowgli is an abandoned child in the jungle, essentially raised by animals and simultaneously threatened / pursued by other animals or predators, if you will, like me. We're talking about a large Indian palace jungle. Loincloths and my personal gripe is that they never share the official look of the children wearing them. But I digress as I write this from my room I have dwelled in since 1999. My neck folds grow moist with the sticky dew, the slime of one's self-repressions and regret.
So anyway, Treasure Island, the Bahamas, Disney sunk those millions in and then split. The same thing happened with Mowgli's Palace. Then it all just stopped.
Since I'm a world-renowned writer, this is another part where I use my rudimentary at best writing skills to basically give the reader about 5 or 6 extra minutes of reading my filler, which was mostly copy-pasted from Wikipedia and ran through a plagiarism checker.
Then there was this article from someone who had explored the Treasure Island Resort and posted a whole blog all about the crazy shit he found there. Stuff just left behind, things smashed, defaced, and ruined. Probably by disgruntled former employees who had lost their jobs. A job. Those are for losers, right, Crispus?
Yeah, of course, right. Well, after clipping more filler, what I'm getting at is that this blog about Treasure Island got me thinking. Even though many years had passed since its closing, I figured it might be cool to do some exploration at Mowgli's Palace. I'm not going to say I wasted no time in getting there, because honestly it took even less time than no time to go a derelict place tied directly to Disney where I assume children in loincloths would be. Another year after I first found that Treasure Island article to get around to going up to Emerald Isle.
Naturally, no official Disney site or resource made any mention of the place that had been scrubbed clean.
I won you that day, by my sword. Your life, your death, they are both mine. If you wish to be free of me, the rules have not changed. It is as it was before. Draw your sword and take your freedom from me.
Griffith, please!
Would you settle for a smile and a fond farewell?
Recently, I learned that corporations can actually ask Google, for example, to remove links from search results, basically for no good reason. Looking back, it's probably not that nobody spoke of the resort, but rather their words were made inaccessible.
Wait, what the fuck? What this dumbass is trying to discuss is the unlisting of links. Often this is for what, many refer to as the deep web, not the dark web. Yeah, I know. Believe it or not, as unindexed websites can only be accessed via certain browsers, primarily, like Tor and things like that. It doesn't mean anything's nefarious, by the way, either. It just means they put things that are more advertiser friendly. I mean, that they're trying to get money. It's what it is. But that's what he's talking about. Yep, you missed about 5 minutes of paragraphs rambling about that, by the way. Just nonsense.
All I had to go on was an old, as hell map I'd received in the mail back in the 90s when I was 35. It was a promotional item sent out to people who had recently been to Disney World. I guess that voucher I got at the Diddy party paid off.
Wait, the Diddy part or the map?
Let's leave the interpretation up to the reader. I'd find it. Locals were no help, as most were transplants who had moved to the beach in recent years, or old residents who just sneered at me and made rude gestures the second I managed to say, "Where would I find Mowgli's?" Here is where I will be in true George R. Martin orbit, glaze myself, and describe the scenery to fluff that word count even higher. I was in awe when I reached the front gates of the resort. Tremendous monolithic wooden gates. Either way, the sight of hard, polished wood had me feeling the sweats. The gate itself had been eaten away at the base by burrowing insects. I tested this myself by inserting my...
Okay, hanging on the gate was a sheet of metal, some random scrap, with hand-painted letters scrawled in black. Abandoned by Disney. Clearly the handiwork of some past local or an employee who wanted to make a small protest.
The gates were open enough to walk through but not drive, so grabbing my digital camera and the map, I called a forklift to widen the gates so I may enter.
The inner grounds of Mowgli's palace were just as overgrown as Mary Lou's ancient burial ground, as the locals would call it.